Welcome to Dominate, where we discuss strength and conditioning and much more. Help with overhead squats and snatches. The simple answer for help with better overhead squats and snatches is what I find is repetition. Repetition is key. So constant exposure to that stimulus. So therefore, that's why our athletes do muscle snatch and overhead squats as a warm-up in a specific sequence before every workout. And our general athletes in our elite program train 4 days a week. And as part of the standard warm-up, they have to go through a sequence of muscle snatch, overhead squat. That is going to increase their mobility, suppleness, core stability in their ankles, knees, hips, thoracic spine, shoulder girdle. Okay? Some of the athletes get so proficient in that they can do muscle snatch, overhead squat, working all the way up to about 90 kilos. Okay? But for our basic mobility is we get our athletes to start from the bar, which is 20 kilos, and work up to 40 kilos, which is 88 pounds. Okay? So that's our basic standards. Our female, they'll work with a female bar, which is 35 pounds, and work up to 35 kilos, which is a standard female. And we don't care how small you are and body weight and so on and so forth. That's what we do. We just work, we get our females and our males to work up to those basic standards. What that does is basically sneak in mobility, flexibility, and stability. And we adhere to the mother of all learning is repetition. So if you understand the mother of all learning is repetition, we expose our athletes to those lifts or warm-up as frequently as possible. Same thing with a snatch. Our athletes snatch in the elite program 4 times a week, whether it's power snatch or a full snatch. So again, this adheres to the basic principle, the mother of all learning, okay? You will acquire proficient technique and mobility, flexibility, and suppleness. And the biggest thing is technique is paramount. That means there is no excessive loading on improper technique. What happens is we see this all over and over. And a lot of my older advanced athletes who've been with me forever will, adhere to this or laugh at this. A new guy or new girl come, new guys, not girls are, they don't really have that big of an ego, but new guys come in and they might be seeing like a 150-pound hockey player or 100 moving some big weight fast, looking explosive. And this guy might be 220 pounds jacked and he can't move as explosive or move as efficiently as this lighter guy or smaller guy. Or they might be seeing a girl moving some big weight in a snatch explosively and fast. So what they want to do is speed up the process. They want to put more weight on the bar because they're feeling embarrassed. Happens all the time. I see it all the time. But they have to just be patient, take their time, because usually the limiting factor is obviously coordination, timing, mobility and flexibility and suppleness. Those have to be ingrained before you start applying weight. If you don't, you're going to get hurt. That's what happens a lot. People start rushing to putting on load, then they cannot utilize that load correctly and they get hurt. So within us, one of the biggest jobs that we have to do as coaches is actually tell the athletes, no, take that off, go down, use the bar, unload, take that off, over and over and over. And when you turn your back, they're trying to sneak on more weight because they see this 150-pound little girl just smoking some big weights over there, and men don't deal with that very well, right? It's a natural thing, I get it. But the biggest thing to work on your mobility, flexibility, and coordination is repetition. Adhere to technique is paramount. That means do not load weight on improper technique. You're not an Olympic lifter, okay? If you're not an Olympic lifter, you don't need to put on big weight, because what's happening utilizing all this lightweight building profession technique is that you are building power, high velocity power, right? That is the biggest thing that people don't understand. I get the athletes to move lightweight extremely fast so they get extremely powerful. And they wonder why they're getting powerful, because the trick is that they're exposed to this high velocity work very frequently. So because they're getting exposed to this high velocity work very frequently, they start expressing tremendous amounts of power in their sport, throwing, hitting, sprinting, jumping, and so on and so forth. So to answer that question, how do you work on better overhead position, better snatches, is mother of all, is repetitions. If you have issues in terms of certain orthopedic issues, obviously you have to go get that checked out and so on and so forth. But for me, commonly, I've seen guys come in here and they can't even put a stick over their head, properly. So we work from a stick, raise their heels. Over a period of time, they start using the bar, sitting into a full squat, doing muscle snatch overheads properly till they're working with the basic standards. So it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. Don't get frustrated. Take your time, be patient, and everything will fall into place. Sometimes it's just like magic, out of the blue, boom. You just turn around like, woo, where'd you come from? A lot of times I laugh because they can't believe, wow. You just have to be patient and you just have to stick with it.